Hello YouTube, my name is Courtney and this is Courtney in Books. There is a little teeny tiny thing to address before I get into it. There are a lot more of you guys here than there were the last time I did a video. Almost 2,500 more of you to be specific. I am aware that one of my shorts went a little bit viral and I really appreciate all of you guys being here, and I really hope that you all stick around for my actual videos because I mean, I can be entertaining sometimes. I am no longer going to be saying I am trying to get to 700 subscribers. I am now going to turn that over to I am trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. That is weird to say, considering this all happened in like the span of a couple days. I am actually doing a January wrap-up, and I know I haven't done a wrap-up in a long time. If you saw my last wrap-up, that was done for the books that I read in September. It was just incredibly late because fall 2024, actually fall of every season of every year is like super busy for me, so I never got a chance to like sit down and do it. And then I got into a reading slump from like October to the end of the year, so I never had anything to like talk to you guys about, but we are doing a January wrap-up because I have started reading again. This channel is called Courtney in Books, but I am also an indie author, so I also write a lot, and when I'm in like a huge writing like phase, I don't read a lot because I'm very focused on my own books. So that is the really quick explanation of why I don't do wrap-ups very regularly on this channel. This is going to be what I like to call short and sweet, and by short and sweet it's probably going to be like a 30-minute video because I cannot do short and sweet. I'm going to do my best though. I actually had a really good month in January. I am going to read these off in no particular order. I always say that. I actually have a book spreadsheet, and it's really organized, but one of the things I wish I did is I wish that I started writing down the dates that I read all these books so that I was very aware of when I finish these books, because I get into such like hyper-focused reading phases that sometimes I don't remember which books I read in which months. Okay, short and sweet, Courtney, short and sweet, short and sweet. So the first one that I read in January, actually not the first one because I just went over the fact that I don't remember which one's the first one because I don't put these in a particular order, but the first one on this list is Saved by the Prisoner by Ella Maven. And this goes back to my alien romance roots. If you don't know, I love alien romance. I sometimes will get into slumps where I haven't found an alien romance that I particularly want to read, but I decided to read this one. It was a novella, it was very short. I could read it in a day, which I did, or a night, because that's typically when I read my books. That's why I don't sleep. Saved by the Prisoner is by Ella Maven, and it is a little bit different from other alien romance because a lot of alien romance deals with like a human female who is like abducted from Earth, blah blah blah, but this one was actually an alien female instead of an alien male, which I thought was very interesting. And she's not just like an alien female that looks like a human and has slightly different colored skin. No, she has like 4 tits, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. She has like 4 tits, which I did not know. I don't know if this is part of a series and I was just supposed to know that she had 4 tits, but it just came up randomly in like the middle of the book when they were having a steamy moment, and I was like, when did she get 4 tits? I did not know this. But I guess maybe if it is part of a series, then I'm already supposed to kind of know what this species of alien looks like. But anyways, so we have Xander, who is I think he is like a half-human hybrid. I don't know what the other half is, if it's like her species or something, but he's half-human, so he looks very human. And for some reason, he's on a prison planet where he has to mine the ash on this prison planet for some sort of material that is valuable. And this girl, Taki, which I thought was such a cute name, Taki is in an arranged marriage with this other dude, and she kind of doesn't really care about it. She's kind of like having her last hurrah with her friend. She gets super drunk on like this big expensive cruise spaceship and gets super wasted. She finds herself in an escape pod, and she's just like, an escape pod, I would like to escape my life. Escaping sounds great. And she drunkenly pushes a button and it ejects from the cruise ship. And she ends up crash landing on this prison planet where our man, Xander, is a prisoner. And he's big and he's gruff, and you know, when you crash land on this prison planet, obviously because you are a female or because Taki is a female, she's going to get mobbed if anybody finds out that she is there. And not only because she is a female, but apparently the females of her specific species are like really good to have sex with. Like their junk, their whatever's going on downstairs feels very good to the opposite gender. So people enjoy using them in said ways. The whole planet basically sees this escape pod or something crash land. And all the prisoners obviously are like, I want to get to it first, I want to salvage it first, it's mine, it's mine. But our guy Xander, so he gets there first. And he finds this little, I don't remember what her species is called, but he finds her and he's like, uh-oh, if the main honcho or the big bad guy on this planet finds out that she exists, she's gonna be torn to pieces. And so he decides to take her to this little like private bunker that he has somewhere on this planet where nobody knows that he like lives. It's like his little private space that nobody's found yet. So he takes her there and he's like, I'm gonna take care of you, but like not really because I want to. I think he's just doing a good deed, but it's not like he's attracted to her or anything yet. Oh no, they are part of the same species. So he is half human and half whatever she is, because I guess like something on them glows a certain color if they have found their mate. And I can't remember what those things are called, and I think it's like on his forearms or something like that, or on his thighs, I can't remember. It's something like that, and it glows a certain color or turns a certain color when they have found their mate or when they like resonate with somebody. And they resonate. And he's like, well, what kind of life can I give this woman? She's obviously some sort of like big socialite. She's very rich. She probably has tons of people looking for her. And she, eventually when she finds out that he is her mate, doesn't care. It becomes this whole like fight to survive and also a fight to get off the planet. First steamy moment that they had was very interesting. She is a virgin, by the way, and I believe, I could be completely wrong, I might be getting that mixed up with another alien romance that I read, but anyways, the anatomy on this woman when they had their first moment was very interesting, and she is described as being very, very beautiful, but also very, very alien. I would really like to see fan art of what she looks like, by the way, so I'm definitely going to be looking up Ella Maven and see if there is anything that exists, because I'm very curious. The next book on this list is No Witch Here by Melanie Hoffer. I have been following this author for ages, like ever since I first published my first book in 2019. I have been following her on Instagram, and I have been seeing her promote this book non-stop, and I finally decided that I was going to pick up her book, and I read it, and I freaking loved it. I am a little bit freaked out that there are not more reviews on this book. This is another one, so I'm not going to dig it out right now because there's a bunch of books in front of it, but I read Song of the Shadows by Mona Storm. I read that book a while ago, and that is another one that I am so taken aback by the fact that there are not more reviews and there's not more attention on these books, because they're so good. And this one was no different from that. I have talked about Song of the Shadows a million times on this channel. We're talking about No Witch Here right now, and if you are a witchy person, if you like Charmed, if you liked practical magic, if you liked those movies or that show, whatever, this is definitely the book that you want to read. It is so good, and it's so well written, and I don't usually go crazy about books like this, but again, I'm just so surprised that there's not more attention on this book. I do not support House Harkonnen, but this cup is really cool. So No Witch Here is basically about, first of all, the main character is in her 30s. I really appreciated that because I am also in my 30s, late 30s to be exact. Jesus Christ. She has witch blood in her family, but she doesn't really want to be a witch. So she's like in denial and kind of rejecting the powers that she has inherited. It kind of becomes this thing where the powers just kind of find her, and she doesn't know what to do about it. She is a little bit put off by it. She has the potential to be somebody very, very powerful, but doesn't exactly know how to come into that power. And then Arthur comes in, and Arthur, oh my god, you guys. Arthur, first of all, he's really sexy. But not only that, he is also a witch. Not only is he a witch, not only is he sexy, but he is also a gamer. okay? And I don't know why that like was so awesome to me, but so seldom do authors actually make a connection to real life like that. Like, so many people in our generation are gamers, and I know that some people don't want to accept that. But we are the people who were born and grew up with consoles and computers, and all that stuff was being invented while we were growing up. So a lot of us are gamers. And so when he ended up being a gamer, I was just like, I loved it because it was so accurate to how gamers are, the way that he was talking to his friends and stuff. But anyways, that is so beside the point. I just wanted to say how much I love Arthur. You have Lena, who is a witch coming into her witchiness. You have Arthur, who may or may not want to steal her powers, but also is kind of like helping her grow into her powers, and they're both very attracted to each other right off the bat, and they're kind of battling, not really battling, but they're sort of contending with this attraction while also trying to figure out a bunch of other things. The biggest thing, like I said, the biggest thing that I can compare it to is practical magic, but with way more. So practical magic, if you don't know what that is, I'm sorry, go watch that movie. It's about a family of witches and casting spells and doing all kinds of witchy things. This is like that, but she goes so much more in depth to how witches work and how magic works, and there's a hint of like cheesiness because there's actual crystal balls and stuff, but then she explains the crystal balls, so it's not very cheesy, it's almost epic. And you know, lots of things like that, and I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed learning about the world and learning about the characters, and I loved it. And again, I don't know why there is not more eyes on this book, because it's just really good, and I think you should all go check it out. The next one on this list, I'm trying to beat my battery on my camera because I just like charged it barely enough to do this video. The next one on this list is The Orc and the Innkeeper, and it is one of the Elderberry Falls novels, and I don't think they have numbers because they don't have to be read in order, they're all different characters, and it's by Cora. I loved this book. I did not think I was in the mood for a fairy tale village with orcs and fairies and a little inn and bakeries and a siren who plays music on the weekends at a coffee shop. I did not think I was in the mood for that sort of book, but apparently I was. And I have said many times that I am not into orc romance. I am a World of Warcraft player. So when I read orc romances, I think of very disproportionate, very weird, like orc men that are not in any way, shape, or form sexually appealing. The cover on this book was great, by the way, and he did have a little bit of sex appeal, I will not lie. So The Orc and the Innkeeper it kind of applies to 3 tropes that I really, really enjoy. Fantasy, fake relationships, and why did I forget the third one when I literally was just telling you there are 3 tropes that I really like? Oh, bully romance. So I do enjoy bully romance. Sometimes it has to be done very, very right. But you have this girl, and her name is Mariah, and she owns an inn in like fairy tale land in Elderberry Falls. She owns an inn. It's like such a cute little inn, and there's like dwarves and like mythical creatures, and sometimes humans walk in, and like it's just so cute. And she ends up getting it's like pixie mites infestation or something, which is basically an infestation of sparkles, and it's like termites but they're sparkles, and they get everywhere, and her protection spell did not protect against them because they were already inside or something like that, and she gets like this little dwarf man to come and help her eradicate the pixie whatever, I don't even know if that's what it's called, but to basically get rid of the sparkles. And he's like, this is gonna cost you so much money, and she's like, I don't have so much money, I'm a little business owner with just an inn. Right when she says that, this big old orc walks in, and she recognizes him because they went to high school together, and he made her life a living hell because she was human, and he bullied her a lot for being human in like a fantasy or like a mythical creature town, because I guess humans and mythical creatures still kind of stay divided in this world. So he made her life a living hell. And she sees him walk in, and he's also very sexy. Like, she does point that out, but he's an asshole and she hates him. She sees him walk in. He's having a meeting with some guy that is staying at her inn, and he is trying to get his not world famous, but his very tasty mead. He has a very successful business making mead, and he's trying to get his mead into the human world, like to expand his company. But this human, do you have any humans in your business, or is it just orcs? Because like that makes a difference. And this woman, Mariah, seeing that her orc bully who has money, by the way, because he already has a successful mead business, hears that he is talking about like having a human wife who is a big part of the business in order to appeal to this human man who he is trying to appeal to. She hears this and eventually decides that she is going to stand in as his human wife to help him get this deal if he pays the like $20,000 it's going to cost to eradicate these pixie mite sparkle infestation from her inn. And they both tentatively agree and begin this like fake relationship. And as you might have guessed, things start to go a certain way in their fake relationship, and I just thought it was the cutest, the most cute thing ever. The next book that I read is Hearts Held by Barbed Wire, which is another indie author, and this book just came out in the last few months, I believe. And it is #1 in the Afton Adders by D.E. Dietz. And this book, if you like Peaky Blinders with a bit more romance in it, this book is definitely for you. This was written very much in the style, very much in the same time frame as Peaky Blinders. So literally, if you like Peaky Blinders, you'll probably like this book. So you have Brielle, who is, she is a medical or nurse or doctor. She's a nurse or a doctor. She's a medical person. And she's got quite a past, quite a shady and tragic and traumatizing past. And you have Everett, who is basically the head of the Afton Adders. And they're called the Afton Adders because, like, in the Peaky Blinders, you know, there's that whole thing where they have like razor blades in their hats, so when you piss them off, they slash you. They take off their little pageboy hats and they slash your eyes out, and then, so they're Peaky Blinders. They blind you. Anyways, so they're the Afton Adders because their whole shtick is sicking adders, which is a poisonous snake, on their enemies. And Everett is the head of the Afton Adders, and he also has a very traumatizing past. I'm pretty sure he's covered in scars, and he does not get intimate with people because of a lot of different things. I don't think it's just the scars, but he's one of those people that has kind of the weight of the entire family on his shoulders because he is the head of this family of gangsters. And Brielle somehow gets roped into giving medical care to one of his brothers, I believe, and through a series of events ends up being the personal doctor slash nurse for the Afton Adders. And Everett just like falls head over heels for her so quickly. It ends up being kind of a stalker situation, and because she's their personal nurse, he ends up giving her an apartment after her old one was starting to get a little bit too dangerous and she was having trouble like affording it. So he just gives her one, and he gives her like a dog and all kinds of things. He starts really taking care of her, but at the same time like has a huge crush on her. And so it ends up being gangsters, stalking, obsession, possessiveness. There's a little bit of a murder mystery going on in there. The side characters I really enjoyed. I cannot remember any of their names because I can't even remember main character names. That's why I write them down. But I just really enjoyed it. There were a lot of shocking moments in this book, so if you do read it, just be sure to be aware of those triggers, just in case. It was great. The next one that I read is Drakari King's Prize, and this was another like spur of the moment alien romance thing. And it's by Ivy Sparks, and it's one of the books in the Warlords of Mythos. And you have Natalie and 2 other girls who were abducted from Earth and basically reclothed, put in prison cells. An alien orb ball thing comes up and starts talking to them and is basically like, get ready for the reality show that you didn't want to be a part of, and basically puts them in like these little dresses and brings them out in front of a giant audience. And there are these 3 warlords from the same planet. One of them is like a cat-like dude, another one is like this oceany, like marine-looking dude, and the last one, the one that this book is about, is a gargoyle dude. And they're all dudes. But they are all sort of rivals from the same planet, but at the same time, they all really just want to get home, and they're all sort of prisoners as well. It's kind of funny because the little orb ball things, like, and the host, they all talk about how they need ratings to go up, And one of the ways that they got the ratings to go up is they stole 3 human women from Earth, and now these 3 men from Mythos, whatever, I think that's the world they're from, they all have to fight over them. And so all 3 of these men decide that the host says, all of you have to, they parade these 3 women out in front of them. All these women are very confused, and they parade them all out, and they're like, all right, now vote on the one that you want, and then we will set that woman free into the arena, and which the arena is like Hunger Games. It's like a whole environment. And they have like little floating cameras that follow them around everywhere, so like the audience can see what's happening. It's literally like Hunger Games. We're gonna let this woman loose somewhere or drop her off somewhere in this arena, and you guys will have to fight over her, and that will be your prize. And it's gonna make it super interesting, and our ratings are gonna skyrocket, and it's gonna be awesome. And all 3 of these men, naturally, resonate with a different woman. Well, these 3 women. And so when they vote on a person to be put into the games, they all vote on a different woman because they all want a different one. Naturally. But our main character, Natalie, ends up being the one that goes out first because they have to like just choose one randomly, I guess, since they all voted differently. Our man, Draven, finds her first, and he starts protecting her and having to get her to a certain point in the arena before the other ones come and take her away and get to that certain point first. So it becomes sort of like a survival thing when he finds her, but also he is like, comes on very strong, and he's like, you're my mate, so I have to protect you. And she's like, okay. I mean, you're really hot for a big purple man. They start going through this arena, they're surviving, and conveniently, there are like little neutral zones in this arena where they can go and like they can bathe and they can relax. It's like a spa inside these places, and conveniently there are no cameras inside of these places, and because it is a neutral zone, you can't fight each other inside of them either. So they end up getting to one of these places and they have a sexy date night because there's a spa and like food and like a hot tub and all kinds of stuff. And they end up fooling around. You find out that they are both virgins and that this guy actually should have wings, but I guess they don't get their gargoyle wings until they bang for the first time. So yeah, he's a virgin, she's a virgin. They have their virginness together. They relate on that. They're fighting against these other 2, but not really, because when he finally like comes into contact with these other 2 alien men in the arena, they're like, I really don't care about this one, I wanted the other one, so you can have her. But yeah, it was interesting. It was a little bit on the shorter side, so if you want to just read something short and interesting and alien-y, I would recommend. The last book that I have on this list, and I'm not even gonna get into this book because I guarantee you all know exactly what it is and you know exactly what it's about. But yes, alas, I did indeed read Fourth Wing this month. And yes, it was the first time I've ever read it. I have never read it before. And the opinions that I have on this book, really quick rundown if you are completely disconnected from the world in general, is about this world where people are at war, and there is this army school that trains people to be dragon riders. And so we have Violet, who is kind of reluctantly admitted into this school. She gets a powerful dragon, things happen, there's some romance, there's a lot of unnecessary fighting between cadets where they sometimes die for no... Anyways, I'm not gonna get into it. I'm going to do an entire reading vlog on Fourth Wing, actually, and I just have to edit all of that footage together. There are some good things that I had to say about it, but for the most part, I was very confused that the book was as popular as it is. But don't worry, that is not what I'm talking about in this video. I just wanted you to know that I did read Fourth Wing this month by Rebecca Yarros. That is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Again, as always, if you are an indie author, or if you know an indie author, please put those books in the comments. I'm always looking for new indie author books to talk about on my channel. And if you have other book recommendations in general, hopefully in the romance genre because that is primarily what I read, then put those in the comments, or put any random thoughts in the comments because comments help me grow. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe. I am trying to get to 3,000 subscribers now, I suppose. That is so weird to me. Whatever the reason, thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. I really, really, really have been trying to work hard on this channel, and I am just really thankful that you guys are here. And if you're watching this, I am even more thankful for that. Happy reading until next time. I'll see you all later. Bye!